Hello, welcome to another video where I'm going to showcase some of my own battles. We're going to take a look at my faction battles from this week against TM Pizza, and their player is BmaxtRocket. I was needed or somewhat in the Master League position this time because we're like switching all around in EU Emperors. And I wanted to give it a try again, so here we are. My opponent ran the same line for a few weeks in a row, but then he switched it up completely. Funnily enough, I actually wanted to go with a Mega Aggro Kyogre core as well, but in the end I decided to go with Groudon, and it paid off really well because it can beat anything but that Kyogre on his team. Let's see how this goes. Let me skip forward a bit because this matchup took like freaking 40 minutes. Alright. Basically, my Groudon is very good here, but the Reshiram can win 2s here. It's kind of bait dependent, and I don't really like that. One thing that I hope that Sylph takes into account for next cycle is that Reshiram should be more points, right? I already made a video on how good Reshiram really is. It basically doesn't hard counter a lot, but it just wins so many neutral situations with that Fusion Flare. Let me skip another 5 minutes here. All right, here we go. I brought my own as well, and I think it's really good. I do lead into it, even though I kind of knew it because it's so good for him. Looks like a little bit of a visual lag at the start. I think so. Basically, my plan here was to just swap into Xerneas immediately. That was my plan because he would have to swap immediately as well. And if he has a Kyogre, he kind of has to bring it because the only thing that really answers Xerneas on his line. I bait the first one. If he shields this, I can then get to Earthquake, but he no shields this, which is unfortunate. But I know I get to my Earthquake here, so I guess that's fine. If he wants to go for switch, that's somewhat okay, but I do expect that Kyogre and the Aggron in the back. I'm hoping he hard swaps for no reason, but looks like he's not going to. Crunch coming in, and then I run Stone Edge, just basically to win the one shields against Primarina. Let's see what comes in. Hopefully it's... I don't know what to expect at this point, to be honest. But that defense drop does not help me, because I was actually planning on staying in a little bit longer here, but now those waterfalls chunk more, so I'll throw Stone Edge, then swap out. But this is not farm down range. The Kyogre will get to 2 moves, and if he gets to 2, I don't even beat the Mega Aggron in the back anymore if there's one. I could beat Excadrill maybe at this point, but also probably not, because I have to throw a move here. I don't want to debuff myself just yet, so I'm going to go for that Moonblast. Another thing is that my timer is far from up. He basically only has to get to 1 move here, and that will be game over. I lose this one quite hard. Basically, what I needed to do was stick to the plan, swap to Xerneas right away. I was this close to leading Xerneas as well. But yeah, it is what it is. And Reshiram doesn't get to another move here as well because Dragon Tail super effective just adds up too much. I do win the one shields with a best buddied Reshiram here, so I guess Reshiram on my side, it looks good on his side. It looks just as good as on my side. I brought Gyarados as a nice core breaker to his previous teams, but he didn't build as weak to this time. And Gyarados still can loses like the 0 shields to Reshiram despite super effective Dragon Breath the whole time. And even Kyogre is so. Also depends on the second move. I wasn't going to bring that Mega Abomasnow, even though it would have been nice against Kyogre here, because it makes it a bit RPS. The Mega Aggron walls is so hard. Basically, Mega Abomasnow isn't bad against my opponent. There's just better answers. So I win the 0s here if my opponent thinks he can farm me down, but I will have to time my close combat perfectly here. And as you can see, I don't, because the waterfall damage didn't register yet on me. So now I don't get my second move off, and he will get to another surf on my Reshiram, which is not great. Instead, he decides to keep that and swap in the Reshiram. I'm not a fool. I'm very aware he tries to bait up my Groudon, but again, Groudon doesn't do as well here. He already revealed Crunch too, so I know I survived this. I'm just gonna throw a Fusion Flare. If he shields, great. If he no shields, I farmed out with Groudon, so works either way for me. Groudon basically beats everything on his line in the 2 shields, except the Kyogre, of course. Kyogre's still alive and has a Surf, which is not convenient. Let's see what's in the back. Worst case scenario is Primarina, but even that I have so much energy. It is the Mega Aggron. Every time I see that Soul Steel type come in, I'm like, wait, Melmetal? No, it's Mega Aggron. Earthquake comes in. My opponent thinks I always bait, so I don't this time. I mean, I don't need to because the Dragon Tails don't add up enough on the bulky Groudon. And honestly, this Kyogre is actually still scary because look at how little my Mudshields are doing here. And look at how much this Waterfalls are doing. I'm throwing my moves here. Kind of redundant, but I panicked a little bit, I guess. I thought maybe I should get the 3 fire punches here. It doesn't really matter. My Mudshields plus a couple Dragon Breaths because I kept that restroom should do enough to win me this battle. So this would have been much more convenient though if I just timed my second close combat well. Although then his restroom would get energy advantage, so maybe not so much. Let's take a look at the third battle here. I'm basically just gonna run the same 3 over and over and over. My Swampert seemed good against his previous team with like Metagross, Shadow, Mamoswine, Blaziken. Doesn't look very useful here. I'm just gonna go with the same team from game 1, I think, here. Yeah. Groudon just always seems solid. It's just... Even Kyogre I don't mind, because if I say switch, it kind of forces him to say switch as well. And his other viable Pokemon have Dragon-type fast moves, so they just don't hit hard. Looks like he say switch to Kyogre here. I swap in my Reshiram. This is not an answer, because the Fire Dragon doesn't win, especially not an energy disadvantage against Kyogre. But... now I have Xerneas and Groudon against that Mega Aggron. It just has nowhere to go. So basically that's what I'm doing here. I realize I don't get 2 moves here, which is kind of sad. I basically just feint to a couple Waterfalls in the surf. And they shield that, which is perfectly fine with me, because I'm just going to get a lot of energy here. I might have to shield another one though. The tackle buff made Xerneas such a good Pokemon. It's actually much better than Zacian is against most dragons, because it's not bulkier, but it has like slightly more HP, which means that it can take Dragon Breaths more, because Dragon Breaths do little damage anyway, but you have more HP to survive it. Like, Zacian doesn't win Reshiram in the 2 shields, but the Xerneas does, which is really nice. Now, Aggron probably comes in, I swap in immediately, and they have Primarina. It's Waterfall, actually, which deals super effective damage constantly, but Groudon doesn't care. Primarina is not as good as it used to be anymore. I basically wins in the 0 shields and the 1 shield straight Earthquake, so he's gonna farm this down now. He doesn't even get to a move, which is wonderful. I can go straight Earthquake, but I'm afraid if he shields 1 move of mine, that I won't get to another one. So I'm going to go for 5 punches, which is a bit safer. That should bring him into close combat range. Now I can go for the Earthquake. Maybe I could have gone to 5 punches. Doesn't really matter though, because Dragon Tails don't add up on my Xerneas, so I can get to 1 or 2 close combats. And but he calls that because I say always bait, and I didn't this time. And that's a solid 2-1 victory, even though I think it could have been better if I stuck to my plan for game 1. On top of that, I just feel like I had a pretty good matchup. Right, I have to say that I usually find myself in terrible matchups. I had a good one this time, and I think it's well done by BMax to get a point there, because I don't think that was easy for him. Hope you liked the video. Thank you, and see you in the next one. Bye.